My name is Prince Toby and welcome to Sports Oracle. Today we'll be discussing the purported injury of Nigerian striker Victor Boniface. And joining me today is Dr. Adedayo Osholowu, who will be discussing the issue, a medical practitioner over 17 years. So let me see and try and join Dr. Dayo now.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a great privilege to have someone of your caliber. For the sake of those who don't know you, and for those who are watching from Canada, across the world, yeah, my name is Prince Toby. You can call me the Oracle. Yeah, I have with me Dr. Dayo. Dr. Dayo, can you please tell us a little about yourself and your background and everything you've done in sports? I know your resume is much, but let's give us a summary.
Thank you very much, Prince Toby, for having me on your platform. I follow your content and I enjoy it very much. And it's a real pleasure to be here. So just to introduce myself, my name is Dr. Adedayo Osholowu. I am a sports medicine physician, been practicing for 20 years. Started 2008 with the African Nations Cup and then worked with many teams. 2010, I worked with the South African Football Federation at the 2010 World Cup. And after this, I did my postgraduate diploma in football medicine. So I have a football medicine diploma from Wits University, FIFA Medical Center of Excellence in Johannesburg. And it's been, let's say, a great opportunity. Sports is a privilege. So being a physician working in sports, it's been a great privilege to work with many athletes, to work at many tournaments, and it's what I love to do. So it's what I love most to do, working in sports medicine.
Oh, that's great. Now, moving straight into the game, Victor Boniface, I know you are exposed because of your relationship with players. I also know your experience as a medical practitioner. Did you think that was a conspiracy by AC Milan?
I think it's, let's say, sports is a business at the end of the day. And it's a business of stories. So the value of sports is all dependent on the story. If it's a story that gets 40 million people interested, then it's a very valuable story. And in this case, I think if we look clearly, there are no facts along with the story. So the story is that Victor Boniface, the deal was cancelled because he failed his medical. But there is no statement from AC Milan or from Leverkusen as regards Victor Boniface being injured, because usually there's a sports injury report from the teams. The teams release an injury report. For instance, Saka, just 2 days ago, there was a release to say he has a hamstring injury, he will be out for 4 weeks. So this we haven't seen for Victor Boniface. We haven't seen any injury report from any clubs. Apart from that, we know he's fit. So that lets me know that, and also, the source, where's the source of the news? The news came from Fabrizio's account. So he has 40 million followers. So of course, if he tells a story, 40 million people pick up on this. So everybody pick up on this.
Sorry to cut you, and he's an Italian. He works with Italian clubs mostly, and is based. Continue.
Yeah, so he's working for pay. So, so he's telling this story about an injured athlete to force down his value, because it's a 1-year loan deal with a 3-year option for 25 million euro. So, of course, if they speculate on his fitness, they can reduce his future value and maybe get him for cheap. But of course, Leverkusen walked away from this deal, which has left, of course, Boniface suffering from this outcome. But I think it's just a setback, which is normal with any great endeavor. There's always setbacks, and the setbacks happen just before greatness. So I think we're still going to see greatness from Victor Boniface. It's just a setback, and I don't think there are no facts to the story. Victor Boniface is fit. He's scoring more goals than he did before his injuries. So he's 100% fit for the game today and in the future.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, just give us an update about what is ACL so that for the viewers as journalists also, because one of the biggest challenges is we have a generation who don't read, who don't do research, and somebody can just put up something in the system and everywhere, especially the media space in Nigeria, has been filled with hatred, with wrong information, and they fell for the mafiaism. Because I understand the style of Italian is the mafiaism. If they don't want something, even naturally, even in Canada, if I want to sell a wristwatch to you and you don't want it, you can devalue it to make sure I make me look as if I don't know what I'm saying. So tell us, what is ACL? Let's educate them.
Yeah, so in the knee joint is, let's say, a joint that we all depend on. You know, you depend on it to sit, to stand, to walk, to run. And in the knee joint, we have 4 ligaments that are holding the knee joint together, because you have the bone at the top of the knee, which is the femur, and then you have 2 small bones at under, which is tibia and fibula, and they move like this. But there's one thing that connects them, and that's the ACL. And then you have another ligament, which is the PCL. So you have ACL and PCL, anterior and posterior cruciate ligaments. They cross each other. So that's why they call it cruciate. So it's anterior and posterior cruciate ligaments. They are the most important ligaments for being able to stand, being able to run, being able to jump. So if that ligament is not there, there will be no connection between the 2 bones. And so
It's like
the knee cannot perform. Yeah.
It's the hinge that controls the door.
Correct. So it's the hinge. So if somebody has a torn ACL, right, it's like a door that its hinges are not working. The door will fall off. So if somebody has a torn ACL and they are running on a pitch, they will most likely fall down, right, because there's nothing holding the 2 joints together. So it's not an injury that you can manage. If you have an ACL tear, you can't manage. You can't play, right? You can't manage.
Walk.
You will not.
You can't walk.
Yeah. You can walk, but you know, football involves making dynamic movements. So you can't make dynamic movements. You can only make like predetermined movements, left and right. So you can walk, you can sit, you can stand, but you can't play professional football, right? Because of this. So the ACL, you see, when it's reported, they usually say the person is out for 9 months. And this is for somebody that has surgery. So what they do is we take a ligament from another part of the body that is not, let's say, essential, and then we put it into the knee joint, and then we replace the torn ligament. So this is what we call an ACL replacement surgery. Victor Boniface had a first ACL replacement surgery, but then there was a second tear on the same ligament, so he had a second ACL replacement surgery. And so he's been back. But one thing we know about the ACL, when you replace it and it heals, it's stronger because it heals with scar tissue. And so with many strikers, with Roberto Baggio, with Francesco Totti, they've both had 2 ACL repairs. Baggio went on to win the Ballon d'Or. So same story with Victor Boniface. He was scoring 6 goals per season before his first year. After it was repaired, he was scoring 10 goals per season. After the second tier, last season, he scored 12 goals in a season. So he has also shown that he's back, he's stronger. So the story is not a story of field medical. The story is a story of resilience, a story of grit, a story of a player that has overcome this very difficult situation and is back banging goals. So he's worth what he has asked for, which is $25 million or more. Playing football is like a parachute. How do you know a parachute works? Jump out of the plane. If you don't die, the parachute works. So it's the same thing. You put him on the pitch. If he scores goals, then you know he's back. If he doesn't score goals, everybody will say he has failed. So Victor Boniface is back. He's scoring goals. So we know the parachute works. So nobody can come and say, oh, the parachute has failed. It's medical. It's not true. Parachute works. He's back to playing. And that's the journey for anyone who has an ACL surgery and decides to have a repair. It's a 9-month journey from surgery to return to play.
A lot of people misunderstood Victor Boniface because they don't know his story. This is a young man who has faced a lot of challenges. As a coach or as a doctor who also deals with the mental aspect of it, tell us, I know you are aware of some of the things Boniface went through. How was he able to overcome that? Because a lot of people never knew. He lost his mom. A lot of people never knew how he struggled from one league to another, went to Europe at a tender age, and went through a lot of things and had two surgeries. Tell us more. What the mental aspect, capacity, how was he able to overcome all those things?
Yeah, I think Victor Boniface is a very strong guy. But of course, he's had very difficult circumstances. And he's been vocal about it. So on a recent podcast, he spoke about, the difficult period after his second ACL tear when he lost his mom, and then he felt like giving up on football. And I think what sort of led him through is his family. So he had the social support. Then at a point when he lost his mom, it was as if, the social support wasn't there anymore. However, he also had a family online. So he also embraced, social media, TikTok, because, this is a lot of young people sharing their lives, the good, the bad, the ugly, and he did the same. And I think that gave him some relief, and he's having fun with it. And I think people judge him too harshly for this point, because everybody needs social support, especially when you are going through a crisis or a difficult period like he is going through now. We need social support. He needs the social support. He needs our support to be able to get through this, because football is let's say, very ruthless, impassionate decision-making system. And so if a decision is going to be made, they don't consider how it impacts your life. So nobody's going to consider how it impacts Victor Boniface's life. And but people need to be more, say, humane, to think this is a young boy, full of talent, has performed very well, also has a good decade ahead of him to do more. So I think that people need to, let's say, be a little less critical of him and allow him to express himself, and support him so he can get over this difficult period.
Going forward, I saw a tweet from the sporting director of Bayer Leverkusen, and they said Victor is not injured and there is no injury, that they are not going to accept whatever verdict AC Milan. And they also understand the business, and he's back with them and he's training with the team, and they are so happy. So do you think other options are still available to Victor? Or some people even say he should just go to Saudi Arabia, which I think is not good for him now. What do you think? Other options for him? I know Victor can play in any league, Serie A, La Liga, even in the English Premier League. So what do you think?
Well, I think that, if we look at the marketplace today, and we're talking about great strikers, we're talking about strikers who, in top flight competitions, Champions League, they come and they change the game. I think Victor is this kind of player. Also, we're talking about a charismatic player that can, rally the troops, rally the team towards a goal. Victor has shown this, and he has, the medals to prove this. So I think that with time, we will see many, and I'm sure that there are many offers, because if we're talking about A-class striker, and you are talking about those who are available, willing to go, if you're going to do a list of 10, Victor is going to be on the list. So I'm sure that very soon, maybe not in this window, we will see a deal being done. Victor Boniface in a top league, playing top flight football. Of course, the money in Saudi is very seductive. So, everybody, struggles with this, and if you're a young man as well, the money is very, very attractive. But of course, if we're talking about somebody who still has over a decade left in his career, going to Saudi might be a little premature. But, at the same time, we can't decide for any professional how he spends his career. We can't decide for him. He knows what's best for him. He knows where he wants to be in the next 10 years. But I think he'll do very well anywhere he goes, and I'm sure there are many options.
Okay, rounding up now, do you think being a black played a factor? We saw what is happening to Ademola Lookman. We saw what happened to Victor Osimhen. Everything coming from the Italian league. And the mafiaism, like I said, about the business of buying players and trying to demarketing players. Do you think being a black person also play a role? Because I know Ugo Ekitiki was paid higher. Other players who don't even have the value of Victor Osimhen. Ugo has not played in the French national team. Victor has played, has gone to AFCON, has played top flight football in leagues, but he's not valued because he's an African. Do you think being an African also play a factor in Victor Boniface?
Well, I have a different perspective, and my perspective comes from my experience working with international leagues. One thing is certain: Nigerian players or the Nigerian sports industry, Nigerian professionals have a global experience. So if you're, and also Nigeria itself is a very competitive place. As a 10-year-old boy, for you to be able to get a shirt in your school, you have to play very good football as a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah.
So we're living we have a very competitive environment, which is why we see our stars shining all over the world. But for every Victor Boniface, for every Victor Osimhen, there's still 100 other guys who can play as well as them, who are somewhere now in their homes, in their villages, playing football. So we have great quality players, but the business of football, at the end of the day, is a fight, just like any endeavor. And if you are fighting, to win and fighting to sell your product, you can't sell it yourself. Nobody can. I can't tell you I'm a great sports doctor. There's no way I can convince you. A third party has to tell you this guy is a great sports doctor. And then if I ask you for 1 million naira, you will pay me because somebody else has vetted me. I think that's what's missing, because our let's say Nigerian football system, right, is not creating a strong platform, right, to promote and defend our players. For instance, with the Boniface issue, Victor Boniface is a national team player, which means he has a national team medical report. National team knows he's fit. They should have released a statement immediately to say, no, Victor Boniface is fit. If they say they brought 3 doctors in Italy, then we bring 4 Nigerian doctors. Then it's 4 against 3, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a game of your word against mine. Also, when it comes to storytelling, at the end of the day, the value of sports is the glory. And the glory is a story that is being told. And the lower you are before you get to glory. So from grass to grace, right? This is the story of Victor Boniface, but this is not the story being told. They're telling a story to sort of bring down these players. So I think it's our word against theirs, and we need to sort of develop our system such that we can go head to head against the Italian system. We can go head to head against the Spanish system, because it's not going to stop happening. It's going to keep happening. The more valuable the players are, the more they are going to be attacked for whatever reason. Today, it's medical. Tomorrow, it's maybe his lifestyle with women. Next tomorrow, it's something else. Somebody has to be able to defend this.
Quickly, because it's fun talking with you. That is very essential. In 2006, at the AFCON, my first Nations Cup in Egypt, JJ Okocha was injured and Bolton were managing his injury. But Bolton flew in, the doctors of the Nigerian Football Federation insisted JJ must come and participate at the Nations Cup. What Bolton did, Bolton flew in their doctors. Okocha was flew in with a private jet from England to Portside in Egypt, and they flew with their doctor because the national team insisted, the Nigerian Football Federation insisted their own doctor must examine him. Coincidentally, Nigeria will be playing in World Cup qualifiers, and Victor has also been selected for the game. I think it's high time our football federation stand up for our players. I expected a release from the football Federation and say this player, we need to examine him or he is not injured as at when we invited him, because we cannot invite an injured player to the national team. And also, we also saw a pattern. Ademola Lookman, the Nigerian Football Federation did not take a stand. It took Didier Drogba, it took other African stars writing petition. There was no official statement from the Nigerian Football Federation. I've seen the English FA the German FA coming to Arsenal when Lehmann was keeping for Arsenal and wanted to know why he's not playing regularly. They even issued a statement knowing why they are player, because they thought it's a project for the 2006 World Cup and we need our number one choice goalkeeper to be playing because it's going to affect the national team. Our FA, what will you talk about? They not standing up. Because as a child, if your child go and fight, somebody say anything about your child, you keep quiet, that name will rubbish your child.
Of course, of course. I think it's let's say everybody's taking lessons. Even me myself, I'm taking lessons from these experiences because it shows that one, there has to be good record keeping. Two, there has to be an aggressive public relations system. We can't be on the defensive. We have to have an aggressive public. If you look at, for instance, in Turkey, they are very public with the medicals. The medicals is a media show, right? The reason is they are trying to show to remove every doubt about the fitness of their players. They do an open medical actually. You are doing the medical in front of the press, right? And it's just a show. It's just a drama to show that our players are valuable. And we are creating this sort of awareness of the efforts we are making to ensure that they are fit, and we are sharing this with the world. I think that's something that
they are building a narrative. That is one of the things you said. They are building that, they are showing, and they are also shaping a narrative. Continue.
Correct. So I think that's one of the things we need to do. We need to, because we have a great sports medicine system in Nigeria, actually. Everybody who's working in sports medicine in Nigeria was trained under a scholarship either from FIFA or from the International Olympic Committee. Many people have been trained abroad in Australia, in South Africa. So we have great doctors, as we know, and many of them leave the country easily. So it's more about, the football system, the football federation, deciding that, okay, let's showcase these standards that we have. Let's showcase the fitness of our players, and also let's have a more aggressive storytelling, for our players, around our players. Let's have a more aggressive, positive storytelling around our players, because at the end of the day, the value of the player, right? Yes, it's a $25 million deal, but it still trickles down to Nigeria. It still trickles down in taxes, trickles down to jobs for people like me, working for players. So it's something that, let's say, we need to have a more aggressive strategy for protecting our boys. Like you said, if it's your son, would you allow it? You wouldn't allow it, So we should look at these boys as our brothers, as our sons, and, take a stand for what is right, because he's done nothing wrong, Yes, he's requested a king's wages, but so does everybody else. And anyway, the teams are making millions of dollars. So if he's asking for $25 million, it's fine. He can justify it in his performance. So I think this is an important point for shaping the narrative from all angles.
Yeah, I was talking about the Nigerian media, or the Nigerian media space. The Italians will never abandon their own. The Russians will never abandon their own. The Ukrainians, we've seen them in time of war. We've seen the Americans. We've seen Canada. We rose up to whatever Trump was bringing up. Everybody were united. You see, when will Nigerians rally around and also shape their own narrative? Because there's a lacuna where the Football Federation is not shaping the narrative. Now it gives room for everybody to just put some things, especially people who are not even knowledgeable about sport, about sport medicine, about player fitness, about transfer strategy and what it involves. Some people are just ardent football followers. They don't even know some of these things, what plays out. So what's your message to the average Nigerians?
I think my message is just what you said. We need to support our own, our brothers, our sisters, and we need to also understand there's sort of a new renaissance. If we see the performance of, we had a lull over the past, let's say, 15 years, where we didn't see any podium experience. We didn't see a lot of, podium experience, Nigerians on the podium. But in the past 1 year, we've seen a lot of podium experience. We've seen a lot of Nigerians performing at their highest level, from athletics to basketball to football. So we need to realize there's a renaissance, just like, in USA 94, and the Olympics as well. We had that. So I think it's coming back. And so everybody needs to get behind this story so that we can benefit. We can all benefit, because tomorrow it could be your brother or your sister who's, has a national team cap and is now in the transfer window. So we all need to sort of make a new sort of awareness of the value of the story, and then everybody needs to make a concerted effort to tell positive stories about our brothers and sisters and to come to their defense, both at the high level and at the grassroots as well.
So thank you very much, Dr. Dayo, for joining us. It's been a privilege and a pleasure. We hope to always have you more times when we have issues to discuss. Your wealth of knowledge, not just in sport medicine, but in the transfer business, in also player management, and a lot of things you brought to the table today. Thank you for joining us, and I wish you the best.
Thank you very much, Prince. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure for me to be here talking about what we love the most, sports, football. We do it any day for free, but we all have the joy of being able to still earn our living doing this. So it's a real pleasure and a privilege for me to be here.
Yeah. Quick thank you to everybody that tuned in and everyone that have been following our project. Myself, you can follow me at Prince Toby 247 across all platforms. Dr. Dayo, where can they follow you? I know you have a program on AIT, and I know you have some other program. Please tell our fans across the world.
So on social media, I'm at Adedayo Osholowu. Also, host of the Doctors coming again in October on the AIT network. So we're just in production, and we look forward to people following us. Follow at the Doctors TVNG to see us on the Doctors talking about all things healthcare, making people laugh, smile, and teaching them something about their health. Thank you very much, Prince. I really appreciate being here and the opportunity to talk.
Well, maybe when Nigeria qualify for the World Cup, we'll see you in Canada. And
we can't wait. I think a North American World Cup is going to be really exciting. Yeah. We can't wait. I won't miss it for nothing.
Yeah, Nigeria qualify, inshallah, by God's grace.
By God's grace. Okay.